Most people have struggled with budgeting at some point. Many have tried to make a budget work carefully and thoughtfully, only to find that it eventually breaks down. When that happens, it often feels personal, as if the failure reflects a lack of discipline or follow-through. In reality, the issue usually lies elsewhere. Imagine spending time building a budget that balances perfectly. Every dollar is assigned, every category accounted for, and the plan feels solid and realistic. Then life intervenes with an unexpected expense, a timing mismatch, or a cost that does not fit neatly into the structure. What once felt orderly suddenly feels fragile. That moment of guilt or frustration is often interpreted as a personal shortcoming. But it is not a failure of effort or intelligence. It's a design problem, rooted in the assumptions most budgets are built on. Traditional budgets are designed for a world where income is steady, expenses are predictable, and self-control is always available on demand. For many people, that world no longer exists. Income can fluctuate due to variable hours, side work, or changes in employment. Large expenses tend to arrive unevenly, often spanning months rather than fitting cleanly into one. At the same time, managing money through constant self-monitoring places a heavy demand on mental energy. The idea that discipline alone can sustain this process is deeply flawed. Willpower is not unlimited, and decision-making capacity declines with repeated use. Each financial choice draws from the same mental resources used for every other decision in the day. Psychology refers to this effect as decision fatigue. As choices accumulate, the quality of decisions tends to decline. A rigid budget amplifies this effect by turning even small purchases into points of evaluation and restraint. Over time, this creates a predictable pattern. An unplanned expense breaks a rule, often without immediate awareness. By the time the issue is discovered, the sense of failure has already set in, and abandoning the system feels easier than repairing it. This is why many people cycle through budgeting methods without lasting success. The problem is not motivation. The problem is that tracking behavior does not prevent financial strain, it only records it after the fact. A budget typically observes what has already happened. It does not reduce exposure to risk or limit the ability to overspend before consequences appear. Protection requires a different approach. Effective systems focus less on monitoring choices and more on shaping the environment in which choices occur. Instead of asking how money should be spent, they determine which money should not be available for spending at all. This shift relies on understanding how people naturally think about money. Behavioral research shows that people already separate money mentally into categories such as rent, savings, or everyday spending. A well-designed system makes those mental divisions real. Rather than relying on a single account and a complex set of rules, the system uses multiple accounts with clear purposes. Money intended for long-term goals is moved automatically and kept out of daily view. Money for fixed obligations is separated from discretionary spending. Automation plays a central role. Transfers occur as soon as income arrives, before decisions or temptations arise. Saving and investing become defaults rather than tasks requiring repeated action. What remains is a spending account with a natural limit. The balance itself becomes the feedback mechanism. When it runs low, behavior adjusts without guilt or calculation. This structure reduces the number of decisions required and absorbs variability more gracefully. It bends when life changes instead of breaking under pressure. The system works with human behavior rather than demanding constant resistance to it. Over time, this approach proves more stable because it doesn't depend on perfection, it depends on design. Consistency emerges not from effort, but from the way money is routed and constrained. This principle is visible in many large, durable systems. Social Security, for example, adjusts benefits automatically to preserve purchasing power. Individuals do not need to apply or remember to act. Protection is built into the structure itself. The same idea applies at the household level. Financial stability is not achieved by tracking every move or striving for flawless discipline. It is achieved by creating a system where the right outcomes happen quietly in the background. The goal is not control for its own sake, it's resilience, a system that can absorb shocks, reduce stress, and continue functioning even when life becomes unpredictable. When money is structured thoughtfully, behavior tends to follow naturally. Progress becomes quieter and more consistent without constant monitoring or self-judgment. That's the difference between budgeting as an ongoing test of willpower and financial design as a long-term foundation. One demands constant effort, the other allows stability to emerge almost unnoticed. This content is provided for educational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice. It is not a substitute for guidance from a licensed financial professional, and individual circumstances may require different approaches.